What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out the Chosen Company Violence of Action. This is by International Legionnaires Ukraine. I'll leave a link down below like I always do to the original video. Please go over to the original video, give it some love. Very, very important that you do that. I've been given this video quite a few times to look at, and it's nearly an hour long. So we're going to split it up. I don't know how we're going to split it up, whether that's in 2 splits or 3 splits. I haven't decided yet because it's a long video and it depends on how much I stop it and talk about it and all that good stuff. So let's just go with the flow and let's enjoy it. Before we get started though, quick announcement. We are exactly 30 days away from the Kickstarter of Morale, which I am super excited about. If you love the outdoors like I do and you're passionate about nature like I am, you're going to want to be involved. We're doing a giveaway. 3 lucky people are going to get one of 3 items: a pack of 12 cans, a t-shirt, or a hoodie. To do it, you can scan this QR code here, enter the giveaway, or you can go to the link below in the description, enter the giveaway. You can do multiple entries. It's really exciting. The winner will be announced in 2 weeks' time from today, so before the Kickstarter actually goes live. So check it out if you haven't already. Very, very excited for that. But for now, let's shut up, let's check this out, and let's see what's going on with this documentary. Obviously, yeah, please be careful. This is going to be quite the documentary, I'm sure. I'm sure there's going to be some weird scenes that you're not really used to if you're not used to military footage.
I've got a broken leg, you don't realise. No, I'm good, just go.
The guy broke his leg. Make sure the volume's good. He didn't seem very happy about it, did he?
Eyes on Charlie. I'll be eyes on Charlie. That's mine. How many we got injured? How many got on the table?
Like when I first got to the unit, that first night, getting woken up 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, I don't remember, but some of the guys that were on the op started, they came into our bunkers and that's when they started filling us in, talking about how they got fucked up, that it was, the operation had basically become chaos.
So it looks like we've got another operation here with multiple different people from different countries as well, just so you know. Obviously, this guy's American. I'm sure we'll have all sorts in there, whether it's European and British or American. This is going to be interesting to see. I always find it fascinating when lads go out there to do this.
We found out that out of the 40 plus guys that went out, they had like 26 casualties with 2 KIA.
Oh my God.
And so right then and there, you know, within my first 72 hours of being in the unit, it was kind of a stark reality.
Yeah,
check.
Sounds rough.
You know, that this is what we're fighting.
So this is a legit documentary by the looks of it. I don't know what channel it was on or anything like that. I'm just going to pass the intro real quick.
This is our 3rd mission attacking a trench. This was like what we were, what we trained for the most and what we're, I guess, most comfortable with. It's a nickname we gave it because on the drone footage, there was a shovel on top of the bunker there. So we gave it a name everyone could recognize.
Well, originally we were supposed to attack the PKM position. I said, fuck that, let's hit them. The whole blow past the uterus joke. I asked Kozak. Kozak said we were crazy, but is it possible? I was like, yeah, we can do it. Our whole goal there was to cut off like a 8 or 12 man Russian position and then kill everyone behind them or capture them. And basically the Ukrainians would then push a like 6-man team forward and hopefully get the guys to surrender.
Oh, so yeah, they're basically sweeping round, cutting through the middle of the Russians to split them up basically, and then they can squeeze the smaller amount of Russians between the 2 friendlies. It's a good tactic.
It's like the guys in this position were like contract soldiers. They weren't Storm Z. They were experienced guys that, they wanted captured.
About a week prior to when we were actually expected to conduct the assault, we did 2 route reconnaissance, and we went out there to essentially assess the route, make a determination on, if the passage was going to be feasible for the Humvees, just because some of the pathways were severely deteriorated from falling down trees, craters, and various other obstacles. So we had
So their main objective was to get Humvees through the area. I'm sure that's what it was. So they've got to clear it. That's what I'm gathering so far.
to go out there and do the assessment and then also kind of get eyes on the objective. And because of my experience in the Army with driving Humvees, I figured that even though it sucks being a driver and kind of having a limited participation in the assault, it got me on the mission, and that's what I wanted.
I have to say, this whole documentary vibe of this video is very, very interesting. Not as much footage as I would expect of the actual mission, but by the looks of it, there's going to be a lot of footage coming up.
So basically, we were going to hop in Humvees, drive past the 0 line to hit a secondary line, and hopefully the Humvees would drive back out.
Yeah, minimal time with the Humvees because the Humvees would immediately draw.
You can't see it behind my head, but this guy's actually a Canadian, which is very interesting. Press play. Come on.
Fire and draw attention, which works for the infill because now like the Humvees are armored. So once we get out, like people are just going to shoot at the biggest thing out there, which is the Humvees. So that's fine, you know. It's like so like those would take up fire, and with the speed and aggression, and with us leapfrogging, nobody expects that because they always expect the frontmost position to get hit. With us just going right to the rear, like those guys, like they weren't
threw
ready.
them off. They didn't. Yeah, the Russians didn't have a clue what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
The plan was because it was like a right angle shaped trench. The plan was to do like a pincer movement and sort of like meet up in the middle, kind of.
So it looks like we've got a Canadian, a Brit, an American who is also from another country as well. This really is a ragtag of different countries put together, which is super interesting. I've mentioned it in previous videos. It makes me wonder how the SOPs work between them and how much training they actually get together as a team, because SOPs between countries can vary so dramatically.
Being on the corner, it was like an L-shaped trench. And then the Russians, their forward position, 105, was approximately 50, 60 meters west of Shovel and was shaped largely like a Y or a T. And that was their fighting position. And we believe Shovel was their rest area.
The idea was crazy, but like implementing it, like doing the planning preparation and then training for it, we actually went and found a trench that was similar in size and scope that we could train on. Because on this one, because what we were doing was, I guess, sketchy, I guess you want to put it, we were going to actually assault the trench from 2 directions because there was like 20-some Russians in the fucking thing. So it was basically, we were going to pincher them so that we'd funnel them all into one area and then you could just throw grenades at them all day until they're all dead. Initially, the 59th, our commander Kozak, got drone footage. We looked at it like for a day or two, and then we found out there was a bunch of anti-tank mines. So Kozak went to the 59th Brigade, like the engineering guys, and they had the Miklik. We got the mines all taken out for the anti-tank. Most, yeah. Well, we thought we hit them all.
And so
This sounds like an absolute nightmare for a place to try and get, doesn't it? I get why they're going straight for this instead, but it just sounds rough, doesn't it? Even the trenches just look so all over the place, and you could say that's a mix of disorganization by the Russians making these trenches. But it just looked like, if you looked at the actual visuals of the trenches when it was looking down, not only did they look so all over the place, but they also just looked like an absolute mess, didn't they? Lads were walking around with no t-shirts on, no armor on. I can see why they wanted to go for this instead of going to something that's on the front line, because they're not going to expect it, like they said, right? They're expecting to be behind the front line, and so that has a really good advantage. But whatever happened obviously ended up pretty gruesome.
we looked at ways of how can we sufficiently pack enough dudes on the Humvees that we had to conduct this operation. I pitched the idea, you know, like, what if we just took the back hatches off? and stuck guys in the back. You know, you could take the hatches off there. It's pretty easy. You just gotta do some unbolting and then, you know, pretty much just lift them. And we kind of evaluated it, and eventually that's what we decided to do.
So the problem we were running into is we didn't have enough room in the Humvees. So we got the bright idea to pull the hatches off the back of the Humvee. I mean, the Ukrainians were like, you guys are stupid, but predominantly because you have an armored vehicle that you're now putting people in an unarmored spot. But like we wanted.
Yeah, but if you've got to get lads to a certain spot and you've got to get as many lads there as possible, you gotta make sacrifices, haven't you? I get that. But at the same time, yeah, an armored vehicle and you're taking armor off to put more people in, that's a big trade-off.
I didn't think we were going to be able to do it with 8 guys or 10 guys, so we needed to get, you know, more guys in the trucks. It was the only thing that we could do. They offered if we wanted like an open top Humvee, like some of our videos you'll see us assaulting with like a 2-door Humvee that's completely open. We turned that idea down just because we thought we were going to get smashed on the way in. Because like you're bypassing a Russian position, so all they have to do is turn and, you know, spray an open top Humvee and you're fucked.
Yeah.
For this operation, we worked with the Ukrainians. They had an assault team as well, and the idea for this operation was, so there were 5 Humvees.
An Australian as
Chosen
well,
company was in the first 3, and
or a New Zealander, one of the two.
the Ukrainians were in the last 2. The plan was to drop off at both positions simultaneously. I was in the 3rd Humvee, like 3 assault teams. 2 assault teams, but split up into 3 Humvees. So the idea was the Ukrainians would stop at their position and we would stop at Shovel at the same time and dismount and attack both positions. This would make sure that the Russians in 105 couldn't fire at us while we attack, and that the Russians couldn't fire at the Ukrainians as they attacked. So we had them both occupied at the same time.
Yeah.
When we finally got the
I mean, yeah, in theory that works, right? The problem is with a lot of this is it's all theory. Until shit hits the fan, you really just don't know if it's going to work or not, do you? In theory, their plan seems pretty damn solid. Again, we know from what they said at the start of this video that, you know, they take a lot of casualties. So something along the lines of that plan obviously doesn't go right, you know?
call that, you know, mission was a go. We had a couple things that we had to do in terms of, you know, final preparations, staging points. And I remember we got to the very last staging point, got into the wood line, concealed the trucks, and got into the trenches that were there with the Ukrainians. And it was almost like a heartwarming moment because the Ukrainians that were occupying that trench, they had some potatoes and they cut them up and, you know, made like some homemade fries for us. And so here we were just hours before we were about to conduct the assault, and it was like the Last Supper hosted by, you know, our friendly Ukrainians.
I feel like the way they're setting this up is going to make it out to be horrific. You know, I luckily have never been in a war scenario, and I'm so lucky that I never did. At the same time, you know, part of me as a soldier wishes that I managed to see some sort of, you know, war-torn environment, but I just was in the military at the time when I didn't necessarily go out. But at the same time, you hear these stories all the time. Like my dad would tell me stories of like before, like the calm before the storm, and it's just so weird how it just so happens that people really chill before it really does kick off quite difficultly. That's not a word. Quite badly. So yeah, and it just seems like in this video they're setting it up for something rough, aren't they?
The mood for the shovel op was generally quite good. People were just really psyched because we had actual drone footage of like Russians in this actual fortified trench that we were going to assault. With Pervo 2, it was more a series of assaults that needed to be conducted over like a larger amount of ground, and there wasn't Russians in all of these positions, or we hadn't seen Russians in all of the positions. Whereas Shovel was more of what I would call like an intimate situation. We knew 100% we were going to go and kill some fucking Russians that day.
So yeah, they were a bit excited, I guess, but also I'm sure nerves will be there. People will be wanting to just get out and get this done. The nerves will be there, though. Here we go with some footage.
Ready, boys?
I wonder who it is who was talking, who we've got
Eventually, we did
the
get
camera with.
a call on the radio that the operation was a go, conduct the assault. We mounted up and exited the tree line and started the drive towards the 105, 106 position. And driving the first vehicle, it kind of, I could, in that moment, feel the weight of responsibility kind of weighing down on my shoulders, you know, that this is my first mission in Ukraine.
Also, as a driver, you have a very large amount of responsibility. A lot of people don't know this, but the last year that I was in the Royal Marines, I specialized as a driver. And you have a responsibility that if something bad goes wrong, you're the one that's got to get the lads to a certain position. You're the one that's in... You've got to look after them. You've got to put them in the right place so that they can dismount and do what they need to do. You need to be able to know exactly what's going on. You need to be seeing what's on the ground. You've got a lot of responsibility as a driver to make sure that you're taking care of the lads that are in the back. And it's a very, very nerve-wracking job, especially because in this situation right now, all the rest of the lads are just prepped to go out, and you're the one that's doing your job. You're the only one that's genuinely, at that very moment, doing your job. And so not everyone is 100 million % switched on. It'll just be him that's 100 million % switched on right now. And that's a scary situation to be in.
And the guys are relying on me to not get us lost, to make sure that I take the right paths and that I don't veer off the proven route. And so as soon as we departed and started heading, I could feel the anxiety start to build up. And then as we're making turn after turn, turning into tree lines to cross over into a new path, I could feel it build up. And as we're getting closer and closer,
I hate to be on the back there, so exposed. That's nasty. Bouncy as well.
What a day! What a lovely day!
The route there was really fucking bumpy. Obviously, the closer we got to these positions, the more shell-pocked the ground was.
This guy here is scarf that he's got on. It has this Spartan helmet, and it also has the commando dagger through it, and is British, so it does make me wonder if this lad's a former royal.
Lots of debris everywhere.
But he's covering his face for a reason, so don't look into it.
The closer you got to the position, the more it looked like you were driving into hell.
Yeah, fair one. How's he going to get through that tree there, that bush?
600 meters!
we made that final turn, the final turn to where from there it was essentially just a straight shot. And at that moment, it was shock.
Oh, here comes the rounds.
This final stretch in front of me and how it looked nothing like what I remembered from the drone footage, and how badly the drone footage translated to what I actually saw in that final turn. And then
yeah, I mean, you're looking at a 2D like footage from top down. It looks completely different when you're looking from the ground, doesn't it? Not only that, this guy's probably got so much stuff going through his mind right now. Like, you imagine the list of things he's trying to keep track of. And so seeing this terrain from a completely different perspective is going to be so daunting.
It was at that moment that it, you know, you really clicked in and just started driving.
Yeah.
We had 3 drop-off locations. My Humvee, the rear Humvee, was going to stop at the beginning of the trench, the middle Humvee, the center in the corner, and then the front Humvee was going to land towards, stop towards the end of the trench past the L. So we're already taking RPG and mortar fire as we're rolling up to the trench.
Jesus. Are we going to see that? Oh my God.
Mine.
Mines, yeah.
I remember I was driving, just going focused, completely focused, looking, no mines, no mines. And then our medic who sat behind me just started yelling, stop, stop. And so I just slammed the brakes.
So why did they stop early then? Because of the mines? It looked like they missed quite a few mines on that drive in, and then there was at least what, 2 or 3 explosions from mines. Oh!
And shortly after we came to a stop, I felt and heard.
Oh
an
my
explosion
God!
behind us. And then I couldn't see anything, just dirt and smoke just
Jesus!
covered our Humvee, and I had no idea what just happened.
Oh my God, you can't see anything. There's metal wasps flying absolutely everywhere. This looks like an absolute nightmare.
In front of me just blow up in a cloud of smoke and dirt. I'm thinking, oh fuck, they've hit an AT mine.
Get out, get out, get out! Just rock, just rock!
Everyone in it came out okay, some light injuries, but you know they still survived and they still fought. We enter the trench after the Humvee, we start fighting. We don't know it at this time. We're taking fire from the other trench where the Ukrainians are meant to be. It turns out that their Humvee drivers dropped them a few hundred meters short of the objective. So the poor buggers had to run a few hundred meters all the way to the trench and
Oh
then start
my
fighting.
God. Why did they not drive all the way up? Mines maybe? I don't know, but they should have drove all the way there.
In that time that it took them to get there, the Russians were sort of thinking what the fuck is going on and started, you know, firing at us, launching RPGs and shit. In my GoPro footage, I didn't notice it until recently, but you can see an RPG fly right across my head at the top of the screen.
Oh my God. That's insane.
At the top of the screen.
There it is. Oh my days. That is nuts, isn't it? The fact that he got that on camera. Imagine going home and be like, Mum, Dad, check this out. Watch this RPG nearly pop me in the head. Wow. Look at the lads piling out of that Humvee over there as well. It's on fire underneath. You've got 2 lads on top of each other here. It looks like pure chaos just kicked off.
But because we were so fast and effective to get into the trench, as soon as we got into cover, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I at first thought in the confusion that it was our Humvee that had been hit. I looked around, saw that all my guys were okay, but like I sort of realised we've got to get to the fucking trench at this point. So
yeah.
Without the tactical bound, I kind of just moved forward.
Yeah, so in a realistic scenario, you'd want to do classic techniques of peeling and all that lot to get to this trench. But obviously, again, just like who's the saying, Mike Tyson or something, that, you know, all plans kind of go out I don't know the saying. You've got a plan until you get hit, basically. It's the same thing, right? Like, if it all kicks off like this, at the end of the day, you just got to get to that fucking trench as soon as possible. No pissing about. Never mind peeling left and right and all that good stuff. You just got to get in there. But the plan would be to exit the vehicles according to correct procedure, SOPs, right? And start peeling left or right, whichever direction they need to go. But it looks like everyone's just jumping over each other at this point, doesn't it?
I get around the vehicle. Finian was there, Dodo was there, Zeus fell off the Humvee, and basically from that point it was just start.
You see that? Zeus fell off the Humvee. You can see him just above my head. Look. There he is. That's him getting back on.
And basically from that point, it was just start the assault. So we pushed the assault from there. Basically, I yelled at the guys, get the fuck up, let's move. The third vehicle at that point was also dismounted. So their team leader, Dave, basically looked at me. I said, push, push. On our side, so they pushed their guys forward. I helped get our guys up and moving. At that point, the driver's weapon had gotten blown up in the Humvee.
Oh, shit.
So I basically threw my rifle to Dodo. And from that point on, I just ran with grenades and a radio on an assault. Not the brightest idea, but...
Where's the the trenches? Oh my god, there's an explosion right above my head here. I paused it right at the time. I'm trying to wonder where the trenches are. It looks like this is the trench here. And there's also part of it going along here.
I looked around, the guys are getting out.
Jesus.
Like, okay, you know, everything seems fine. I think we're good. And then once I saw that everyone, the guys that were in the boot of my truck, as well as all the passengers had gotten out, they started getting online in front of me and conducting their bounding to get into the trench.
Perfect.
That was my cue to go.
So they did manage to kind of regain a bit of control there and start doing SOPs to get to the trench. That's fantastic.
Ahead and start leaving because you can't sit there with the vehicles long. You have to get in, dump troops, and then get out as quickly as possible.
Mm.
Shortly after we left, I remember I was driving, I was looking for the path that I came in on so that I could ride the tracks back out. And I was going focused, and then all of a sudden I just felt another explosion and the inside of the cab just filled with smoke.
Shit.
And so at that moment I was like, what did we just get hit by? So once we got to our staging point with the two Humvees, we started concealing the Humvees.
Oh, so he actually still carried on driving even though he got hit again? My God.
And then I started talking to Shaggy and, you know, trying to just kind of, even in that moment where it just happened, you're already trying to look back and kind of talk about what just happened. And then that's where we could see that our Humvee, the turret, actually took a hit from an RPG.
Wow.
And you could see where it penetrated on the left side of the turret, but then went through, double penetrated the turret and detonated outside of it. When we were looking at the turret, we knew which side it got hit on, at what point we got hit, and the angle that it came from and the direction, it was about 450 meters to the next Russian trench.
What?
And so when I realized that, the only thing I could think about was, you know, these dudes came to play.
Yeah.
I mean, hitting a moving Humvee from 450 meters with an RPG, an unguided rocket.
That's an insane shot, that, isn't it? 450 meters? With an RPG? I mean, luckily, they hit, but it didn't go off, but...
It's not an easy shot to do.
No, it's not. Oh my God.
Reloading! Go to fucking left! Let's go!
So at this point, they're peeling left. It looks like they're trying to get into the trench here. Pushing forward.
My team dismounts, so does the other team. So we had Alpha and Bravo group, and we both enter the trenches from different ends.
All right. I think that's a good place to pause it. They've just got into a trench. We're like a third of the way through. What we'll do is we will split this into three. Or we'll watch the whole of the last bit in one big go. I think this is a good place to end it because we've got the build up. We've got the lads getting into the trenches. They're in the trench now. We can start the next video from here. Let me know what you think. We can watch more of this video. Absolutely insane. Not only story, but footage that goes along with the story. Also, the quality of this documentary is insane. International Legionnaires Ukraine. Again, link down below to the original video. Please go over there, give it some love. All important that you do that. Very, very important. Also, don't forget, we're doing a giveaway for morale. If you want to enter the giveaway, scan the QR code or see the link down below as well. And again, if you want me to watch more of this video, make sure you like this video, because if it doesn't get much views, there's no point me watching the next part, is there? So if it gets lots of people loving this video and wants to see me watch the next part and break down what I think is probably going to be quite a brutal second part to this, let me know in the comments as well, okay? Until next time, all of you all have a wonderful day. Goodbye.